So that was it. You know, he spilled the beans, but then he also called him Izuku. I think that's the first time he's ever called him by his real name. And on top of that, he said he was sorry. I think that's the first time for that as well. So in the previous chapter, Class 1A did this like elaborate propulsion combo to be able to catch up to Izuku, who had launched himself in a slingshot using full 100% in an attempt to get away with them. But doing what they did, they were able to have Ida catch up to Izuku and grab his hand. And that brings us to where we are right now, where we see Izuku saying, even though I need to let go, I can't muster the strength. That's because he's like completely exhausted right now, and we're seeing him reaching his breaking point. Throughout this arc, we've seen Izuku burning the candle at both ends and living like this hectic, manic lifestyle, essentially trying to speed run the symbol of peace, where it's also implied that like he hasn't been taking breaks or resting or sleeping or anything like that. So naturally, he's on borrowed time, and we see that time running out here. So then Uraraka releases her a quirk that she had applied to Ida in the previous chapter, and this causes him and Izuku to free fall, and Ida starts to get worried about if they're going to be able to make a safe landing or not. And then out of nowhere, Kirishima shows up and puts himself to use and catches both of them. This is a bit of a surprise because in the previous chapter, Kirishima was instructed by Endeavor to go assist Hawks securing the civilians. But also, you know, Kirishima was kind of complaining about that because he had things he wanted to say to Izuku, and he also felt like he wasn't as capable as the other students. So I guess off panel, Endeavor changed his mind and told Kirishima that he could go assist with recovering Izuku. But as for the thing that he wanted to say to him, turns out to be him asking Izuku if he is the kid from the sludge villain incident. Because apparently he had heard about this story when it happened. That's understandable, but what's a little clunky, I guess, is him bringing this up now. But I guess I see what Horikoshi is going for here. Kirishima and Izuku haven't really had like a lot of bonding, and I guess they don't really have a lot of moments or things to reminisce about. So I guess this is just a way for Kirishima to stay relevant and also having some kind of connection to Izuku. And also this is a way to explain the reasoning for their actions here, because after this he's like, think that your attitude from back then is the key to all that's happening now. So at this point, Izuku is further about to break down, and it seems like they're actually going to be able to take him back to UA with them. But then he says, you know, I'd love to come back, but it's just too dangerous, and there's like a lot of people at UA, and I don't want to cause them any more trouble. But first, can I interest you in a video editing software by the name of Wondershare Filmora? So if you're watching this, there's a chance that maybe you want to be an anime YouTuber yourself. And if that is a venture you'd be interested in going into, you're gonna definitely need some video editing software, and Filmora can certainly help you with that. It's easy to use whether it's a beginner or a professional. It has a lower price and a simpler operation than competing products. It also has a variety of trendy special effects. I mean, take a look at this. I've been messing around with this software editing my own videos, and with their green screen feature, I was able to add in dancing Izuku to my video because why not? But it also has like super high quality AR portraits. So like you can just put a filter on that makes you look like a dog. You can also have dancing Izuku on top of that. So if you are interested in some affordable video editing software, please check out Wondershare Filmora. And if you do, please use the link in the description. You'll be helping me out too. Thanks, guys. And then we come to the major significance of this chapter, something that I think makes it one of the most important chapters in the series quite easily, because Bakugou steps up to Izuku and just straight up wears his heart on his sleeve here and finally reveals the truth to Izuku about how he feels about him and, you know, why their relationship is the way that it is. And he's like, I always looked down on you because you were quirkless. You were always far behind me, yet I felt that you were somehow miles ahead of me. I hated that. I didn't want to feel like that, and I didn't want to recognize that. So even as a child, Bakugou instantly knew that there was some serious potential to Izuku. Potential that maybe even surpassed Bakugou's, which is obviously exceptional. And he says, it's why I grew so distant from you and always tried to beat you down. I opposed you and tried to show my superiority over you, but I always lost. Even after entering UA, nothing went as I thought it would. I spent all my days trying to figure out your strengths and weaknesses. It probably doesn't mean anything anything telling you all this, but that's what I really think. And that's ironic, of course, because this means everything to Izuku. This is one of the most important things he's ever wanted to hear in his life. And then to cap all this off, he then says, Izuku, I'm sorry for everything I've done up until now. So that was it. You know, he spilled the beans, but then he also called him Izuku. I think that's the first time he's ever called him by his real name. And on top of that, he said he was sorry. I think that's the first time for that as well. But he continues to say that the path you took as the successor of One for All is exactly what All Might did. Your choices weren't misguided at all. But as of now, you can barely stand on your own, and your ideals alone can only take you so far. If you ever encounter a road bump, you can always count on us. In order to surpass All Might, we would all have to protect UA and the civilians in there together. It's the only way. And then it appears that Izuku is about to lose consciousness, and the last thing that he's able to say is, guys, in the previous chapter, I said, this fight is between One for All and All for One. You all can't keep up. Look, I'm sorry I said that, guys. I didn't mean it. And then he falls and Bakugou catches him and he's like, I know. So this is another huge moment, and I'm sure a lot of you went crazy over this. So then I guess we have like a short time skip of them bringing Izuku back to UA, and we see like the barrier is active. But then randomly, 13 is there with her helmet off. This is the first time we're seeing what she looks like, and she kind of looks like a student. She's giving like a brief update on what's been going on, but she says the ones remaining outside are anti-hero vigilantes and an extremist that has become violent alongside the prison escapees. So maybe that's like the next opponent that they're all going to collectively face as like a reunited team or something. And then she says the number of anti-hero civilians entering each evacuation center due to exhaustion is increasing, and that the solo journey that you did, Izuku, really helped the heroes and the police. So that's nice. It's showing that like what Izuku did was not all for naught. Like, he did put in some serious work and made somewhat of a difference despite, you know, him losing himself along the way. But then they also mentioned that the security system on UA connects to Shiketsu somehow. So that's interesting. I wonder to what capacity and how it works exactly. But also I think Shiketsu being name dropped here means that they're for sure gonna come back. I mean, we are final act, so I'm assuming it's gonna be sooner or later. But then as Izuku continues to approach UA, we see like all of these civilians standing outside saying that like, oh, the rumor about that boy that Shigaraki's after, it's him, isn't it? Don't bring him in here. You know, the principal said that we were all gonna be safe here, and if you bring him in here, then we're not gonna be safe. Go hide him somewhere else. But then Uraraka steps up, you know, the great person that she is, and she's like, you know what, don't worry about them. And she grabs Izuku's hand. She's like, look, we all made this possible for you to come back, and we're not gonna let go of you anymore. It's like, who will save the heroes when they're the ones in trouble? Referring to Izuku, obviously, and them helping him. And in the final panel, we see like Uraraka like looking seriously at the civilians, I guess, saying like, no, you're gonna accept him. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments. Where do you see Bakugo and Izuku's relationship headed after this? And if you liked the video, guys, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.